A lot of buzz around Havells was created right before the numbers. And when the numbers came out, the revenue growth, 14%, was above street expectations by a wide margin, led by volume growth in both the categories. Margins came in lower. It would be lovely to understand from Mr. Anil Gupta about why does he believe the second half would be so much more better on the demand front as well, relative to what has happened thus far, which also I thought, actually, Mr. Gupta, was fairly impressive. I mean, the numbers, revenue growth of 14%, volume growth of 20 and 30%. There was no cause for disappointment out there, was it?
I think, we believe that the markets have been doing well over the last 1.5 years. The infrastructure and the industrial side is definitely doing better. I think we were a bit, slow on the consumer offtake overall as an industry over the last 1 year or so because of the inflation, which we believe that over a period of time when the inflation is now slowing down, that should bring back the consumer demand as well. But unfortunately, we were also hit by some unseasonal rains in the first quarter for which both affected fans as well as air conditioners business. So overall, it's a mixed bag. We are positive about some parts of businesses. We were disappointed with the fact that we couldn't take full advantage of the season. But going forward, I think, as things normalize, we should be looking at good growth in other segments also, other than just industrial and infrastructure segments.
Yeah, and I'll come to that as well, because that is showing very good growth from you and from your peers too. But on the consumer side, when I see you say that you expecting a much better recovery in the second half, is it related to a particular segment? Because otherwise winter season may not necessarily be the strongest for ACs or maybe even fans. So what gives you this confidence, sir?
I think overall, as I said, for the last 1.5 years, there was some slowdown in the consumer side because of inflation. So my main hypothesis is that inflation now being settling down, the prices being settling down, and we have been seeing some uptick in the construction cycle. So that should eventually result in consumer products like fans and installation products, water heaters, switch gears, wires, that should see some uptake in the coming times. So that's what's giving me the confidence that in the coming times, the installation products, including the consumer products, should start gaining.
Just wondering, could the street be underestimating the velocity of growth that comes in on products like these? Because your peers of your size, etc., or smaller than you as well, are talking about fairly constructive growth demand. So is this something that comes out of growth that we haven't been able to see for the last maybe 3-4 years because of various disruptions, including COVID?
Yeah, I think you're right, including COVID as well as inflation, unprecedented inflation. So I do believe that there is overall positive expectations for the coming times, given the investments which are happening. Look, even the construction cycle was low for the last not only a few years, but at least 5 to 7 years. And that has also seen uptick in the last 1.5 years. So I think generally speaking, there is positive expectations overall.
Okay. Now, Lloyd's, I think your stated goal, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not quoting you verbatim, is market share over margins. Now, that served you well on the market share side, not quite serving you well on the margin side. Does this turn around at any point of time? Does it even out? Do you change tact at any point of time in the next 3 quarters?
I think, the philosophy behind Lloyd has been that, when we acquired the company, it was at a particular positioning in terms of manufacturing, in terms of brand perception, in terms of quality perception, service perception. So company has made in a lot of investments in all these fields, and that takes inputs and investments. So the whole idea is by doing the right things, we should be gaining market shares. With distribution reach, with brand enhancement, with manufacturing, we today are the largest producers of air conditioners from a branded point of view in the country. As well as having a completely control on our own technology. So I think this is requiring investment, and we'll continue to do this investment. And so we are anticipating market share gains from that. And hopefully this will continue. And I believe that, that's where the first objective of the company is, that we should have a meaningful, rightful market share. And eventually, with economies of scale, with the operating leverage, the margins will also follow.
So from where you are, Mr. Gupta, you reckon that that could come around at a particular point in time, or is it difficult to guesstimate?
I would not give any particular period of time, but as I said, Lloyd is a long-term play. It's a huge market of over $15 billion. And I think Lloyd is still a very small player, other than the air conditioners, where we have some meaningful market share, but there is a huge opportunity for Lloyd to grow. So I think I'll not give any particular time because, as I said, our main objective is to become a meaningful player in this industry.
Okay. A lot of sell-side notes and analysts who track you are fairly enthused by this whole white label opportunity that maybe you're not embarking upon right now. Maybe you've started that some while ago, but coming into prominence currently. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
I think I would again say that Havells has always been at the forefront of manufacturing. So unlike the perception that electrical products, electronic products, there's a lot of sourcing from third-party manufacturers, either from India or from China. Havells has always invested heavily into manufacturing. So that has given us gains, as you rightly said, is also in the past. Almost 30% of our switchgears, are exported not only in our own brand, but also for other brands outside of India. So that's something which we now see as an opportunity for more product categories like underground cables with capacity expansion coming up at Karnataka, with the new air conditioner manufacturing facility at Sri City. We see more opportunities coming up like that in the future as well.
Okay. Ms. Gupta, excuse me. Last two questions. One is on inventory. Various conversations with other cooling solution product companies as well as with other air conditioner companies seems to suggest that inventory is still fairly high. I read a note which quoted apparently you as saying or Havells as saying that the inventory is not quite that high. Could you clear the air for us?
Yeah, I believe the inventory in the channel is not very high because March, April, we saw unseasonal rains, and hence the channel started liquidating their own inventory rather than picking up from the manufacturers. And June actually saw a good summer. So we believe that the inventory from the channel has been flushed out to a normalized level. It's not very high inventory at the channel level. From the manufacturer's point of view, yes, there could have been a possibility of higher inventories, but definitely the channel is not stuffed with very high inventories.
Got it. My final question, you've given the numbers on the call as well, so I won't get into that, but just one macro perspective, if you will. We are in a point of time wherein everybody's talking about India being, quote unquote, the beacon of growth amongst the larger economies, but the world going through a period of fairly sharp slowdown, or if not sharp, at least a prolonged slowdown. Do you reckon that consumer demand in our country as well, could pick up in the second half, or would a slowing global environment impact that too?
I think generally, India is not isolated from the global events. We've seen that in the past, but India has also shown resilience, because of the sheer demographics, the overall control on the economy for India. And I do believe that with some minor hiccups here or there, but actually, global slowdown can actually be beneficial in my opinion, for India as well, because it could lead to some deflationary trends, and that could actually help India in some ways, to help propel the consumption cycle in the country. So I think the sheer demographics of the country will see long-term growth for our country, despite whatever is happening in the global markets.
Okay, and some upticks from the short term because of the deflationary trends on the raw material prices.
That's right.
Got it. Mr. Gupta, great talking to you as always. Thanks for taking the time out and all the best for the quarters ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And viewers, thanks for tuning in.